Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the largest gathering and celebration of entrepreneurship in Hampton Roads history. We have a great crowd today. Look around, look how many people we have. Despite the rain, we have you here with us today, and that's amazing. We're excited to welcome all of you, but especially these local entrepreneurs that we have with us today, the regional corporations sponsoring us, the members of our media, and folks from our wonderful local universities. A big welcome to all the investors and entrepreneur support systems we have. And finally, welcome to all of our dignitaries, our elected officials, and the wonderful folks from the city. How about a big hand and thank everybody so much for coming. I tell you, we've got a really exciting program today. We're introducing 3 great new resources for entrepreneurs: Startwheel, 757 Accelerate, and 757 Seed. And to familiarize everybody with those 3 programs, we're going to do a fun, quick way of introducing you to each of these great resources. We're going to do something that we're calling an interview relay. I'm going to invite our first guest to the stage, and I'm going to ask him as many questions as I can in 2.5 minutes. And at the end of those 2.5 minutes, my man over here has got a cowbell. I guarantee you, you will hear that cowbell. Tell you what. So as soon as that cowbell goes off, the interviewee becomes the interviewer. I'm going to step back, and he's going to interview the next person to tell you about the next great resource. So let's get started. Our first guest is the Executive Director of Startwheel. Ladies and gentlemen, how about a big hand for Mr. Chris Sheldon?
Hello.
All right, so Chris.
Yep.
The resource we're introducing, or you're introducing us to, is Startwheel. So tell us, what's the primary organizer for 757? The Startwheel is the primary organizer for 757 launch, correct?
That's right, right.
Okay. So tell us about Startwheel. Why are we here?
So Startwheel, our primary mission is to make it easier for entrepreneurs and resources in the region to connect. So we partnered with Pilot Media, who built out startwheel.org. Please visit. You'll find a resource directory, a directory of startups in the region, as well as a centralized events calendar. As for why we're here today, well, an idea isn't worth the paper that it's written on until you can execute and deliver value to your customers. So that is, you can't just talk about it, you have to be about it. And we at Startwheel are not just talking about ecosystem development, we're doing it.
And that you are. We see how many people are here today.
I am impressed.
So what problem is startwheel.org solving, and why do you think that's important?
They say it takes a village to raise a child, and similarly, I'd say it takes a community to raise a business. Now, the problem isn't necessarily that we have a lack of resources and entrepreneurs in the region, but it's the lack of connectivity and collaboration between them that's the problem.
So how is startwheel.org going to solve that problem?
Well, I think you're looking at it to a large degree right here in this room at 757 Launch. Startwheel is intended to be a community-driven platform. That means it belongs to all of us, and we hope and expect you all to participate. My job is simply to corral the resources and people interested in the entrepreneurial ecosystem and figure out ways to facilitate stronger bonds between them. To do that, we have to understand what that community really needs and build functionality to address those needs, including events like this.
So on that note, how can our audience here today engage with startwheel.org?
Sure, glad you asked.
I am too.
Visit startwheel.org. Give us feedback. Tell us what you like, especially tell us what you don't like. Sign up as a resource. If you know resources, ask them to sign up. Sign up as a startup so we know who you are. Share your startup stories with us. We'd love to post them on our blog feeds. Last but not least, certainly not least, we need institutional engagement and corporate engagement. Can be really advantageous for you. Our partnership with Pilot Media, we've put together a great package that can provide real, measurable, tangible value to your organization.
You heard the cowbell. I
That's
can't
the
argue with that.
cowbell. Thank you. Next up, I'd like to invite Evans Macmillian, Executive Director of 757 Accelerate. Hi, Evan. Welcome to the stage. So,
Thank you, Chris.
2.5 minutes on the clock, please. We're good. What is 757 Accelerate?
It is a selective, mentor-driven acceleration program that connects promising startup founders with vetted mentors, investors, resources, and a lean startup education to help high-growth potential companies do more faster. But there would not be a 757 Accelerate without the collaboration of an unprecedented coalition of regional partners. With the leadership of Town Bank, 6 cities and 4 universities from around Hampton Roads contributed $500,000 in matching funds to help us win an I-6 Challenge grant. And as a result, we can now put $1 million to work over the next 3 years for Hampton Roads entrepreneurs.
Great. So tell us, what is the difference between an incubator and an accelerator?
Well, big words. In an interconnected entrepreneurial ecosystem, these 2 resources would sit side by side, and they really are complementary. But there are 3 main differences. First, in the area of capital. Incubators offer usually free co-working space and offer some free resources. But at 757 Accelerate, we will give startups $20,000 without taking equity or ownership in their companies, while we're also continuing to connect them with mentors and investors. The second area they're different is in time. Usually in an incubator, it caters to companies that are in their early stage in the idea formation, and so often they spend more like 12 to 24 months in the accelerator, in an incubator. But at 757 Accelerate, it's a 3-month, robust, intensive program where startups are really focused on making significant progress on their company's growth during that period of time. And then finally, it's in intensity. So at an incubator, you often work at your own pace, and you're not always giving your full time to the project. But at 757 Accelerate, our companies will have a committed founder who's working full time on their business during the program.
And so those that apply and get in, what can they expect from the program?
Well, at the outset, I think they're the most excited about the $20,000 of non-dilutive capital.
Can't argue with that.
But after that, we'll start accepting applications in May, and we will make selections in July. And the program will run from September to November, and it's very intentional to try to connect up with the 757 Seed Fund and the 757 Angels funding cycle. So to learn more, please come to the website, 757.org, and sign up to learn more, to be an applicant. And really, really important, I need all these faces out here as a mentor to help these great startup founders.
Thanks, Evans.
So now I'd like to welcome to the stage Monique Adams of 757 Seed Fund.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello.
So tell me more about 757 Seed Fund.
Thanks, Evans. What a great turnout. Thank you all for being here today. At 757 Angels, we've interviewed more than 400 companies, and we've recognized the building momentum in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. Leveraging that momentum and building on the first-of-its-kind collaboration, we received Go Virginia funding to create 757 Seed. 757 Seed is a $1.5 million seed fund, which intends to be catalytic capital, helping companies find funding earlier. Over the next 3 years, we intend to deploy the capital to a selective group of 10 to 15 companies with investments ranging from $30,000 to about $150,000.
That sounds great. What's the difference between 757 Seed and 757 Angels?
Yeah, great question. So I'm going to answer that in 2 parts, related to the investor network, the investor model, and then the stage of companies that we invest in. First, the investor model. 757 Angels is an angel investment network where individual members make their own, or members and investors make their own individual investment decisions. That is different than 757 Seed, which is a fund model. Investors invest into the fund, and then the fund in turn is going to invest in 10 to 15 companies. Related to the type of companies that we're going to invest in, 757 Angels members favor investing in companies that have already validated. They have some traction. They're usually iterating on their business model. Whereas 757 Seed will provide $30,000 to $150,000 to companies in order for them to validate. An example of that might be capital required for a key hire to execute a go-to-market plan, money for a meaningful beta test with a meaningful statistical sample size, or perhaps a company that needs some inventory so they can get their first customers.
So tell me about some of the success stories from local entrepreneurs around Hampton Roads.
Yeah, so we have some exciting success stories around Hampton Roads. In Norfolk, Extuple, software as a service, Embody Parts, medical device company. On the peninsula, Ivy Watch, medical device company. Out of NASA, Psionic, which is creating LiDAR technology for autonomous vehicles. In Virginia Beach, because cryptocurrency company, and Lisa, which is an e-commerce sleep company. And there's so many others. And really the message here is that these companies were started here, they're growing here, they're attracting investment here, and they're creating jobs here. And so many of these companies are already in the national spotlight. We should be very proud.
Well, that's great news. So can you tell us what to expect in the coming months?
Yeah, so we just recently received the Go Virginia funding, so we're running through some of the mechanics of establishing the fund. We'll be looking to raise money from investors this summer and hoping to deploy money as early as 2019.
Well, we'll look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
You beat the cowbell on that one. So we're going to grab these two chairs. So folks, while they're doing that, look around. All of these wonderful businesses, they are entrepreneurs, they're small businesses. You're here today. Make sure you stop by, support them. They're wonderful people doing wonderful things. It's So ladies and gentlemen, at this time to invite our next speaker up on stage, I'd like to introduce the mayor of this beautiful city. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mayor Alexander.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Wow, you look marvelous. Well, thank you. Welcome to Norfolk, the center of Hampton Roads, the heartbeat of America, the best city in America, and I'm glad to see my friend and my buddy John Rowe from the city of Portsmouth here as well. Let's give John a round of applause. Look, this is a wonderful gathering, the largest gathering of entrepreneurs in Hampton Roads, and I thank you for being here. Also, I want to say that we're excited about the momentum that's building here in the city of Norfolk, but not only in Norfolk, but throughout Hampton Roads, and we owe a lot of it to you, our entrepreneurs and our business leaders. Speaking of our business leaders and our political leaders, we have with us today Delegate Cheryl Turpin. Where's Delegate Turpin? I did see her. Welcome and thank you for being here. Delegate Jay Jones is here. Delegate Glenn Davis is here. My colleague on the Norfolk City Council, Andrea McClellan. John Rowe from the city of Portsmouth. John, it's good to be with you. And we have our city managers here. Dr. Lydia Patton is here, as well as my city manager, Mr. Douglas Smith. Thank you for being here. Also, from Town Bank, sitting right in front, Bob Astin, as well as Morgan Davis are sitting right in front. Thank you for being here. President of Old Dominion, John Broderick, is here. Deborah DeCroce is here. John Reinhardt from the port. John, thank you for being here. Jim Spohr is here, and Brian Stevens is here from the Hampton Roads Chamber. Thank you both for being here. And Stephen Lynch, Director of Economic Development from the City of Hampton. Thank you all for being here. My job is very easy. My job is to introduce our friend, Senator Mark Warner. Come on up, Mark. Mark served as governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, where he invested more money in education than any other governor prior to him arriving. Under his leadership, Virginia was the best state to do business, the best state to raise a child, and the best state for a child to get a public education. Right now, he's leading the investigation as it relates to this little business called Russian meddling. He's on the banking committee. He's on the Senate Finance Committee on Rules. He's also vice chair of the Intelligence Committee. Mark, before he was governor or senator, and I want you to get this, he started out as an entrepreneur. He failed twice in business, but he reset, he relaunched, he started Nextel, merged with Sprint, and created thousands of jobs and invested thousands of dollars in startups. Ladies and gentlemen, our friend, U.S. Senator Mark Warner.
Well, thank you, Kenny. Thank you, Mayor. What a great crowd. And I got one request already. I need to bring that cowbell back to where I work. We could dong a lot of people on the floor of the Senate. This is an amazing turnout, and it's so significant and important. The mayor mentioned my background. Some of you may know me as politics, but I've actually was in business and an entrepreneur longer than I've been in politics. And as the mayor mentioned, I remember when I first started my first business, I took my life savings, $5,000, invested it in a little energy startup company, went to work for that company, and in 6 weeks, I helped that company go totally bankrupt. Went into real estate after that, failed after 6 months. But at that point, I was flat broke, living out of my car, sleeping on friends' couches, and I heard about this new technology called cell phones. I'd gone to law school. All my law school classmates thought I was an idiot to look at cell phones. I started Nextel. They're still practicing law. And the notion here is entrepreneurship is where energy comes from. It's where communities are built. If you look over the last 25 years, 80% of all new jobs were created by startups. Now, we think about the Facebooks and the Googles and the others, but those startups could be a local restaurant, it could be a local retail establishment, and frankly, in Virginia, we need to do more to support startups. I remember with my good friend Paul Hirschbill, and let's also give recognition to Paul, who's been so involved in all of these activities. 20 years ago, before I was elected to anything, Paul and I and a number of people in this room said, what we lack in Hampton Roads is early stage capital. If we are going to keep and attract the businesses of tomorrow, the entrepreneurs and the intellectual capital that will drive an economy, you've got to have early stage capital. And the truth is, we need to do better in Virginia on this front. 78% of all the venture capital in America goes to 3 states, California, New York, and Massachusetts. Most of the venture capital actually doesn't go to people who look like the balance of America. Less than 5% of venture capital funds go to women. What's even worse is that only about 1% nationally of venture capital funds go to people of color, African Americans, Latinos. In a country that is more and more diverse, we are not going to hit all our marks if we don't find a way to make sure that everyone who's got a good idea at least has access to the notion of building an enterprise anywhere in the country. You know, the wonderful thing about an interconnected world is you can build it anywhere. And we've seen that you can build it in Silicon Valley. We've seen you can build it in Boston. We're increasingly seeing that you can build it in Shanghai or Mumbai. Where we need to do a better job is showing that you can build it in Hampton Roads, or even more so, build it in Southside or Southwest Virginia. So the effort of these 757 organizations has been to try to create that ecosystem that will help that next Facebook, Google, you name it, startup take place right here in this region. And I'm very excited about the activity. I'm very excited about the fact that one of the outgrowths of this effort is not only the 757 activities, but it is the ability to create what we're calling kind of an investment marketplace. Because the challenge, particularly as somebody that was a venture capitalist longer than I've been a politician, it's not only finding the money, but finding the right kind of investor for your type of enterprise. And what we have not done as well in Virginia is we've got a number of investors, but we've not matched up those investors with the right entrepreneurs. And through the efforts of Paul and the 757 organizations, we're creating the appropriate listing of what in effect is the capital stack, where you want to invest, whether it's early stage, later stage, how much risk you want to take, and then how we match that capital stack of funders with entrepreneurs. We rolled this out called Virginia for Entrepreneurs back in December, and in the last 3 or 4 months, over 500 entrepreneurs and hundreds of funders are starting to make that match that would allow the next great company, the next great enterprise to grow up, whether it's here in Hampton Roads or anywhere around Virginia. End of the day, business and entrepreneurship is about renewal. It's about renewal of spirit. It's about renewal of opportunity. And if we're going to stay in the game in a state that is so perfectly situated, we're going to need these kind of efforts. So my compliments are to all of the folks involved, Monique and all the folks on the 757 activities. I'm anxious to be part of the judging panel. Let me just say now, on my political standpoint, I want all the people that are applying to win. So if you don't win, it was the other judges, not me. But this is a real chance for me to be part of this. It's great to be back in Hampton Roads. Kenny, it's always great to be back in your city. Frankly, it's great to be anywhere other than Washington, D.C. these times. So thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to the continued development of this effort. Thank you so much. Am I supposed to do somebody else? Thank you, man.
Thank you so much, Senator. Those were inspiring words. It's wonderful to hear real life, how people got where they are. So folks, right now we've entered the final component of today's program, and that's the final pitches from the teams at the ODU's Lions Lair Innovation Competition. We've got some great teams who've worked really hard. And to introduce the competition and the program to you, I'd like to invite to the stage the Executive Director of the ODU Strome Entrepreneurial Center, Ms. Nancy Gurdon.
Well, hello, everybody. Hello. Okay, there we go. So first, Grace, thank you so much for the welcome, and let me add my welcome to all of you today. Before I start on the ODU Lions Lair, I would like to recognize Delegate Kelly Fowler, who's also here with us today, so thank you. So welcome to the third ODU Lions Lair Innovation Competition, powered by the Hillier Ignite Foundation. For the first time, Lair has been open to the entire Hampton Roads community as well as ODU. The purpose is to identify early-stage entrepreneurs with promising ideas to solve problems that we face in society. It's unnatural for us to hold the Lair competition at 757 launch today, since ODU is a proud partner in these new regional initiatives that you just heard about. So, today you will hear from 4 entrepreneurs in 2 categories who will make their final pitches, and at lightning speed, no surprise. They were selected from 54 applicants and 10 semifinalists. The Hillier Ignite Foundation is our very generous sponsor, providing $10,000 in cash prizes to our winners, $5,000 to each winner. As many of you may know, Hillier Ignite is an organization founded by entrepreneur and ODU alum Luke Hillier. Central to their mission is dedication to promoting entrepreneurship as a way to really convert innovative ideas into products and services that truly benefit mankind. Hillier Ignite has been our sponsor for all 3 competitions, and we thank them for their generous support of local innovation and entrepreneurs. A round of applause. Okay, so you can't have a contest without distinguished judges. And we are very, very honored to have 4 amazing people here today. They are all entrepreneurs, so they have been there, done that, from that very early stage. So I'd like to introduce the 4 to you. First, we have, obviously, Senator Mark Warner, whom you all know. We have Tony Di Salvestro, who's founder and CEO of the Why Not Italian and Why Not companies. We have Angela Reddix, who's founder and CEO of Ardax, and also founder and CEO of Foundation Envision Lead Grow. And we have Drung Varsky, who's founder and CEO of Grow Interactive and an ODU alum. So 2 very, very simple ground rules. First, each finalist gets 3 minutes. That's it. We're going to get that old cowbell out. Then 2 minutes of Q&A from the judges, and we're going to get that cowbell out again. Second, there is a scoring rubric, so all the contestants know what they're going to be judged upon. And there's 6 things: market opportunity, distinct competence, management capability, financial understanding, investment potential, and, of course, presentation. So, let's get started. First, the traditional entrepreneurship category. This track seeks new, innovative business or product ideas, and we have 2 finalists. First up, future traders.
Good afternoon. I am Andrew Cohen. I began my career at Goldman Sachs and went on to become a very successful trader and market maker, enabling me to retire at the ripe old age of 36. Now I'm a distinguished faculty member at ODU, where I teach trading and investment.
Hi, I'm Kevin Moberly. I'm a professor at Old Dominion. I teach rhetoric and game design.
I noticed my students having a difficult time understanding trading concepts when I use traditional teaching methods. So I went back to my roots as a trader, combined with my high-stakes card games against my Goldman Sachs trader friends, to create future traders and bring the rush of an active trading environment into the classroom. When my students played future traders, they were so engaged and had so much fun, they kept playing even after class was over, and their test scores improved dramatically. So what makes future traders distinct and better than other games? I tried using other simulations, but they were too slow and didn't provide timely feedback. This particular game doesn't even begin for 10 days. With future traders, we made it super fast and super fun, with scaffolded levels going from simple to complex to systematically increase the learning curve. Our rounds are only 2 minutes, so players get almost instantaneous feedback on their many decisions, making the learning curve exponentially faster than other games. Additionally, players can learn to trade any product, master any market, and it's great for any level, even an old professor like Kevin.
So Future Traders is scalable, it's portable, it's persistent. Future Traders is an app. You can play it on your phone, you can play it at home, you can play it anywhere.
So as you can see from the slide, there are so many potential profitable markets for future traders. We decided to go where the profit potential is greatest, and that's the financial industry. Financial firms do not have a good method for finding the right traders. A bad trader can cost a firm millions of dollars. We feel using future traders as an assessment tool, it is the perfect solution. It is measurable, it is objective, it is so easy to administer. Future traders could streamline the process, saving firms multi-millions of dollars. Research shows, for example, Goldman Sachs alone, my old firm, does over 300,000 interviews per year. Selling future traders and licensing it to them at merely $50 a seat will generate over $1.5 million per year. Our model, similar to what Bloomberg did, using Goldman Sachs and a few other key firms to establish future traders, demand will then be driven exponentially from other firms across other industries and globally. We foresee over $22 million in revenue by year 3, with a 3 times value. Oh, so Q&A, okay, sorry.
Nice try. Nice try. Yeah, that would be great. Okay, so we have 2 minutes of Q&A from the 4 judges.
Yes.
What's the price point on the game? model, individual distribution model, or will you try to actually sell through, the firm?
So, go ahead, do you want to answer it?
So yeah, we want to get started somewhere. So we figure we're going to use a Bloomberg trading model. So we're going to initially sell it for $50 per seat sell it for $50 a seat for Goldman Sachs, right? And once we get into the financial firms, then the sound is really awful up here. Then the other markets, the education markets, right, will follow.
Yeah, so $50 is very reasonable. It costs, for example, $250 per GMAT test. Goldman spends multi-thousands of dollars for every trader they interview, so.
What's the target age group for your product, and are there competitors?
I can answer that, yeah. So the initial target is the financial industry. Once we get it in there and establish it, then the target age is going to be for everyone. Because the levels are customizable, I've tested this with my 7-year-old nephew who loved the game. I've tested it with my son. I've tested it with our students. We've had hundreds of students at college level. So it can be targeted for everyone. We thought the financial industry first and then hit all the other markets.
So I'm interested in what is your ROI and what was the cost of starting the business and when do you perceive being profitable?
Okay, so we already created an app for it. We have the card game. We foresee several $100,000 to make the app. Before we go to the top investment banking firms, we foresee several $100,000 to make the app perfect. But for year one, we're looking at revenue of about $1.5 million. So a very high ROI, and then it gets exponentially larger. All we need then is the market cost.
As exponentially larger as we break into other markets like education, textbooks.
So, yes.
What's your customer acquisition strategy? How will you get in with Goldman Sachs and other major firms?
So I've already talked to some people at Goldman Sachs and they're very interested. So my thing is to get it into their HR thing, when they start using it as a test market to...
Nancy.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. Can I have your attention in the back? Can I have your attention? Those way in the back. Will you please give your undivided attention to what's happening here on the stage? This is very important. There are a lot of people who've worked very hard, and they're here for these presentations, and let's please respect them and give them your undivided attention. Can we do that? All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Exam. That was perfect. So, we have our second contestant in the traditional entrepreneurship. Let's welcome Teaming Pro.
Yep.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tim Haggerty, CEO of Teaming Pro.
And I'm Ben Haggerty, Teaming Pro's Director of R&D.
All right, now show of hands here. Who either works for a federal contracting company or loves somebody who does? Anybody? All right, good. Now, as you all know, at any given time, there's about 625,000 companies out there looking to connect so they can team up, create stronger bids so they can win their share of billions of dollars in federal contracting.
And every company has the exact same problem. None of them know who's going to make a good, viable teammate. So that means that they're forced to spend years of time and loads of cash just so they can try to create a decent teaming network.
So we came up with a solution to this problem. So we created the very first automated teammate matching platform. Now, if that sounds a little confusing, don't worry about it. It's actually pretty simple. Show them what it looks like, Ben.
Okay, so Teaming Pro takes a federal opportunity of your choice and matches you with the best possible teammates for it. And it does this by measuring various different points of compatibility in a very similar way that a dating site does.
And if our customers need even more information, they can dive into each one of these potential teammates and drill down to the ones that are most compatible with them. Now, it's important to note that we're not just matching you with companies that happen to have registered with our platform.
We're showing you every currently active company that's in the marketplace.
Now, just to give you some pretty good perspective, so if you're going to go out there and try to find a viable teammate in the old way right now, it can literally take you months.
But if you're going to be using Teaming Pro, you're just going to have to spend minutes.
Now, put yourself in the shoes of a brand new company. You're going to start out, you have absolutely zero connections, and
you can go to a strong teaming network.
And that's at a fraction of the time and cost of what it would take right now.
Now, Teaming Pro's MVP is already completed, and we've started to achieve some sales.
And the way that we make money is we're a software as a service, so we charge a simple fee to get into our platform. Now, here are some of our business numbers so far.
So our customer acquisition cost is averaged right around $17.50. And Teaming Pro has a gross margin of 85%.
And that's because we've automated just about everything.
And our average cost per click is only $1.03.
So to keep it real, we want to identify or show you the risks that we have identified and how we mitigated them. So number one, most important, market risk. We have anyone willing to pay for our service? The answer is yes. We've proven it through sales. And so with this, we know who our customer is and we know how to reach them.
Next is our team risk. Our management team has over 15 years of experience in this industry, and Teaming Pro is not their first startup.
Great. Now, competition risk, knowing that we are creating a new category here, so we will have competitors, but that's okay, because they're going to have to compete on price and features.
So, Teaming Pro is priced at the low end of the professional SaaS model, and we're ready to rapidly release any new features when we deem it necessary.
Right? So, to wrap it up, with Teaming Pro, we have some pretty aggressive goals to help federal contracting companies win more federal contracts through the use of our innovative platform.
And that's Teaming Pro. Are we ready for any questions?
Thank you very much.
All right, Judge, Q&A, 2 minutes.
Could you explain a little bit about your algorithm? So are you using social economic factors and whether they're on an IDIQ or what's included in the algorithm?
All of our data is sourced first, right? But a little bit of it is a bit of a trade secret, but we are getting company information from various governmental databases. And we pull it in a very intelligent way that basically matches a company's past performance as well as other factors to a particular opportunity. So if there's a new company that comes on the market, we have them in our database. And importantly, if there's one that goes out, then they're out.
Does this interface with Salesforce and some of the other CRM platforms that government contractors use?
Not yet, but that is actually part of our growth plan.
Yep.
What is your process for vetting the companies that you are recommending?
Well, we're actually only bringing up companies that actually have past performance. So these are companies that have won contracts in some form or fashion. These are companies that you would want to ultimately team with because they add value. More importantly, these are actually companies, so if you're going after an opportunity that's with a particular agency, we're matching you up with companies that have done the exact same kind of work before for the exact agency that's requesting the new opportunity. So it's a good match, pretty much. Yes, sir.
Can you tell us a little bit about the customers you've gotten right now? What's your traction look like?
Yeah, so we just started. We are new. Ben and I have been working tirelessly on this entire process. But we have customers. We are just now starting the marketing phase. And so this is kind of marketing is like a whole nother business, right? So like we can come up with the algorithm and we create the platform, but now we're getting into marketing. Actually, Ben has a little bit more experience with that on the social side as well as outreach.
Yeah, he's very technical. He has a very technical mindset. I have a very social mindset with my age. So that's how we've kind of been running it so far.
Pretty much.
Thank
you for calling me old.
I understand you're looking for existing customers, but how are you helping the new customer get into government contracting?
Okay, so like if you're a brand new company and yeah, right, and you have zero connections, the only way that you go out and make connections now, sorry, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Teaming Pro.
Who wants to take stuff from me?
Now for the social entrepreneurship category. This track seeks new innovative solutions to social, cultural, or environmental problems. First up, connections that matter.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, my name is Janine Owens. I'm a graduate student at Old Dominion University. I'm the owner of Glidden Owens Design, and I'm the founder of Connections That Matter. So we all know that image is everything and perception is reality. This 1980s ad campaign from Rolling Stone magazine proves the point. The perception was that only hippies read the magazine. The reality was that young urban professionals actually did. They worked hard to change that image. The image of the pink ribbon, symbolizing breast cancer awareness, successfully changed the national conversation from a taboo subject to one where everyone wants to save the tatas. Businesses spend big bucks creating and maintaining image, but for some, that can be a problem. For nonprofits or causes who can't afford to hire professional marketing services, their image suffers because they lack that their image suffers and they give the perception that they're not worthy of support. For students looking for a job, their image suffers from lack of experience, giving the perception that they're not worthy of hiring. For businesses, lack of community engagement gives the perception that they only care about profits. And for society, lack of social good gives the perception that all we care about, that we lack humanity. So when I connected those dots, Connections That Matter was born. Connections That Matter is a startup organization that provides low or no cost professional marketing services to those in need. We engage student interns to do the bulk of the work, gaining real world experience and instilling a sense of service. We give businesses a cause marketing opportunity, and we hopefully make the world a better place. We do that by drawing on my expertise to facilitate the process and oversee deliverables. I have over 25 years experience as a designer in various creative environments. I've led and managed student intern teams. I've worked and taught at higher education institutions, and I've run my own business for 25 years where many of my clients are nonprofit organizations. But the students will do the bulk of the work, gaining that real world experience and making those connections that matter. They will be involved in every step of the process from start to finish, whether it be client meetings, production, implementation, or final delivery. I can offer guidance, resources, tips, training, etc. to both students and clients. Thank you.
Could you explain briefly, so what is the product or the service that you're offering?
The service is a marketing services to those who need. So if whatever they need might be brochures or logos or ads or videos or websites or anything like that, we would offer those services.
And so you would compete with what other type organizations?
Well, I mean, we would compete with other design and marketing services, but we want to use the student interns so our costs are low or no cost so that, they get a lower cost price and the students get the experience.
So what is your revenue stream looking like?
Well, so I think that we will, the projection is maybe $150,000 per year. The operating budget in the handout is like $90,000, so well covering the costs of operating.
I think it's great that you're looking at how you can use students, but how do you build any kind of continuity of operations when your workforce is going to be constantly kind of flowing in and flowing out of the enterprise?
That's why you need a person who is experienced to oversee that process and facilitate it and make sure the students do what they're supposed to do and keep it on track and make sure everything runs smoothly.
So your business model is pricing per hour, cost per hour?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know what the price point, what your plan?
Looking at, depending on the client, I mean, 75 would be the tops and lower.
Okay.
Have you had any clients yet, and what sort of things have you created for them?
Well, I've had a few clients within this organization. One is the ODU Department of Music, where I've created a lot of material. One is some material for San Jacinto College in Texas. Thank you, thank you.
Connections That Matter. Our final contestant, Alita.
Hello everyone, and thank you so much for coming today. My name is Sophia O'Neill, and I'm the proud owner of Alita, Fashion for the Modern Woman. Alita is a Greek word that means truth or truthful one. For us, it is the promise to be ethical and transparent about how our products are made. Fashion is the second most polluting industry in the world. Our solution is to create each of our clothing items from sustainable and durable materials, transparent about our production and sourcing techniques. Our inaugural collection of Fall/Winter 1, entitled Sleek Sophisticate, is scheduled to debut in late 2019. Our second collection, a Spring/Summer 1, entitled Feminine Fatale, is scheduled to launch in early 2020. Our target market are women ages 25 to 55 who desire quality, durable clothing with distinctive style. We will be selling all of our products via our website, alitafashion.com. Online retail is projected to increase by 9.3%, while over 65% of consumers are actively seeking sustainable fashion. We will have a fully developed brand personality of an edgy, classic, cultured, conscious professional that will permeate all of our marketing materials to create a universal brand experience. This will include fully integrated marketing and selling channels with social media, pop-up shops, press across media outlets, and reaching out to social media influencers. Conscious fashion companies tend to fall into one of three categories: accessories, sportswear, or minimal basics. There are a few reasonably priced companies with high quality goods and an edgy style aesthetic, much less ones that adhere to a high ethical and sustainable code. We have an advisory board with experts in three key areas: accounting, business development, and economics. I, as the founder of the company, am a junior studying international business with a minor in marketing at ODU. I have over 6 years of real-world business experience and over 10 years of seamstress experience. We will be a certified B Corporation prior to launch and are partnering with Liberty and Justice to ensure transparency in our supply chain. Our total startup costs are a bit under $700,000. Our average price range for each product is $217.50, with an average gross profit margin of 44.83%, which brings our total year one profit, assuming 80% of products are sold, at a little bit above $1 million. Alita, thoughtfully designed, consciously made, always truthful. This is fashion for the modern woman. Thank you.
Okay, Alita, audience, we have 2 minutes. Judge Q&A.
Very nice presentation. Why did you decide to kind of do a whole line rather than focus on a certain piece of apparel, either a dress or a shoe or an accessory? It seems fairly ambitious to say you're going to create a total line.
I personally find it very, very hard to find clothing that fits an edgy, classic profile that is sustainable and reasonably priced. And if I'm having trouble with it, other people must be as well. Did some research and found out that there was no company actively serving this market.
You spoke a little bit about research.
Yes.
Have you researched in this area or wherever you're targeting the demand?
I have researched the demand. There is a very strong demand for sustainable clothing that is continuing to grow, and people of all style persuasions want it, and there isn't one for an edgy classic look.
Where are you sourcing your material from?
We are currently working with Liberty and Justice, which I briefly mentioned, which is an organization that helps ensure proper sourcing out of Africa. And so we're currently looking at 2 different factories for materials and production.
Are you going all online, or are you brick and mortar as well?
We're going to be doing all online as well as some pop-up shops.
I know you said you didn't see a lot of competition, but what sort of brands do you think are even close in the space?
When in regards to fashion, Warby Parker for accessories, Nisolo for leather goods and shoes, and then Everlane for a minimal, clean look in reference to fashion, as well as Patagonia for sportswear.
And you mentioned $600,000 in startup costs. Where are those going?
The costs are going mainly towards marketing, sample creation, production for the first 2 collections, and then other operating costs.
Do you have a large social following now?
I do not. We are working on growing that and continuing to grow that.
Do you have the ability in your model to maybe scale? Is it $685 or nothing? I mean, is there a way that you can start at a lower
Yes.
starting point?
Yes, we can start with less on the outset to just with the samples.
Alita. So So you've heard from our 4 pitches. At this point, we're going to excuse our panel of judges to deliberate and come back to us with their decisions on 2 prizes. We'd love to have all 4 be winners, but we will have actually 2. And at this point, I'd like to turn the program over back to Chris.
Thank you so much, Nancy. Folks, I know that everybody's excited, and I know that everybody's having a good time. It is Friday. Make sure that you have the snacks. We do have food set up in the back. Make sure you take advantage of that. But we are honored to have some very prestigious sponsors for this event. So I'm going to allow each of them to come up and spend a moment to tell you a little about themselves and a little bit about who they're representing. So ladies and gentlemen, first, how about a big hand for the president of Old Dominion University, Mr. John Broderick.
Well, thank you and welcome. What a terrific atmosphere and environment for all of us to be a part of. And what I'd like to challenge all of you to do is someday come over to the Old Dominion campus and go back behind the Ted Constant Convocation Center on Monarch Way, where you will see the first store we believe in the country, a retail store that's comprised of nothing but student entrepreneur products and technology for sale. You will see no better example of how an entrepreneurial culture and an entrepreneurial-based education is leading to those types of things that Senator Warner and others challenged us about here today in Hampton Roads. So on behalf of Old Dominion, this is an exciting day for us, and it's an exciting day for our students, and I hope you will take advantage of that opportunity to see firsthand what 18, 20, 22-year-old students are not only creating, but what they're actually marketing and selling right here in Norfolk, Virginia. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Broderick. Ladies and gentlemen, next we have the chairman of Town Bank, Mr. Bob Astin.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all so much for being here today, and let me just say that Town Bank is proud to be a part of this and to be able to help these young people move these promising ideas forward as they go about fulfilling their dreams. I stand up here today really as a representative of something that was said earlier today when it was said it takes a village to raise a child and it takes a community to raise a startup. When we look back 20 years ago, this coming June, there were a few of us sitting around in my garage at home thinking about what we were going to do with the rest of our lives since we were all unemployed. And unemployed's not a good place to be, right? So at that time, we decided we wanted to build a great community asset. A bank was really the vehicle by which we chose to do that. There were 4,000 members of this community that put up $50 million to allow us to create Town Bank based on the vision that we put forth at that time. We had no loans, we had no deposits, we really had nothing other than the promise of what we wanted to do. Keep in mind that out of that $50 million from 4,000 people, that was a little less than right around $12,000 per investor. So small amounts of money lead to big things. Today, our company has about $2 billion of market cap, $10 billion in assets, and has been a great asset here in this community that we hope to be even a better asset as we move forward. So never give up on your dreams, work hard, and all of you that are out here in the audience today that are investors, think about how you can put money behind some of these great young people that were up here today, because they too can have their dreams come true just as we did at Town Bank. So again, thank you so much for allowing us to be a part of this today.
Thank you, Mr. Astin. Next, we have the chairman of 757 Angels, Mr. John Paris.
Hi, this is quite a scene. It's really an honor to follow Bob Astin, who has been not only an icon in town here, but a leader of so many different things that are just astounding. So thank you, Bob, for what you've done for us. A lot of us, I bet most of us think that Virginia is the best state in the country to
operate a business, the best state in the country to live in, the best state for almost everything. A lot of us, most of us I bet, think the 757 region is the best place and the best state in the country. So we at 757 Angels, a new group that was formed about 4 years ago, what Monique Adams, who you all saw earlier, and what our members have been doing over the last 4 years is proving that this area, its leaders, its visionary leaders and investors in the 757 region will invest in our best. That's what 757 Angels is about. We at 757 Angels believe we've played a small role in bringing our cities and our business leaders and everybody in town to the realization that we can all work together across boundaries. Heck, we can even work together across the tunnel, which we know how wide that is. So focusing on what we do best, we figured out what we don't do well. And we kept coming across a few things. It would be nice to have an accelerator. It would be nice to have better mentoring. It'd be really nice to have a seed fund. Well, that's what happened, and that's why you're all here. So what I will say as I leave is that you can't fix something until you know it's broken. I think this area has been always very open to what's broken. Let's be open to what's working. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ferris. Folks, next up we have a partner at Wall, Einhorn, and Schernitzer, Mr. Paul DiNardo.
Good afternoon. I just want to take a minute to make a couple of comments. I consider myself an entrepreneur despite the fact I'm a CPA and I'm a partner in a CPA firm. I've been involved in the entrepreneurial community my entire life. I've had clients literally go from garage to IPO. One of the problems throughout most of my career was entrepreneurs having access. It's access to capital, access to people, access to resources. And for most of my career, I was kind of the gatekeeper. I knew a lot of wealthy individuals, and I was the choke point for people. I knew a lot of people, but I didn't know everybody. And so what the 757 initiative is the democratization of resources, of access to people, of access to information, access to capital. And so while, in my opinion, this is the future of Hampton Roads, we need this. I have 4 children, 3 have graduated from college and have had to leave the area to find their opportunities. This is the future of Hampton Roads, and while it is necessary, it is not sufficient. For it to be sufficient, we need your continued engagement and involvement. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Mr. DiNardo. Ladies and gentlemen, last up we have from VA4E, Mr. Peter Lindquist.
Hello, everyone. My name is Peter, and I wanted to take just a minute to introduce an investment marketplace called Virginia is for Entrepreneurs, which you can find at va4e.org. VA4E is a working group championed by Senator Mark Warner, who you just heard from, and others, and it connects founders, like many of you, with resources and investors, like 757. So I'm the head of product for Village Capital, and we built va4e.org on top of a methodology that we call VIRAL, which stands for Venture, Investment, Readiness, and Awareness Levels. VIRAL has 9 levels, from just having a founding team and an idea on a napkin all the way through level 9, which is a large, successful company ready for exit. I encourage all of you, whether you're an entrepreneur, an investor, or a support organization, to become a member of va4e.org, where you can take a diagnostic that will tell you what your level is and match you up with appropriate investors and resources. It's sort of like OkCupid for startups. As Senator Warner said, we already have hundreds of entrepreneurs that are part of the marketplace, and around 90 investors that are actively using it. If you're interested in VIRAL and how to assess your own progress on investment readiness, I do have a worksheet handout that's over behind the food on the little bench. I'll be standing back there after this. Feel free to come by and I'll give you one. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Lindquist. Well, it looks like the judges have come out of their chambers. They must have a winner. So ladies and gentlemen, to announce our winners, please welcome back to the stage Nancy Gurdon.
Okay, the moment you've all been waiting for. Unfortunately, we don't have a drum roll, so we got to use that cowbell again. Thank you. 2 awards. The first, if I can have your attention, please. The first award, Traditional Entrepreneurship, Teaming Pro. Okay, final winner, Social Entrepreneurship, Alita. So I don't know about you, but I'm going to be really interested to see what happens to these companies in the years ahead. So we'll have more to say about that later. At this time, we're concluding our program, and I'd like to turn it back over to Chris.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, how about a big hand for all of our presenters? The courage it took to come up here is remarkable. So folks, to wrap everything up, wanted to big thank you to Selden Arcade. They're a retail incubator helping to grow small businesses that fit well with the mission of 757 launch. So make sure, how awesome would it be if all of these retailers walked out of today with their highest grossing day ever? How awesome would that be? And that's because of all of you folks who are spending time here. So big thank you to them. Momentum is building. You're going to learn more about all of these resources. I know that Chris and Monique and Evans, they're all going to be down here. Nancy's going to be down here. Make sure you check out all of their websites, startwheel.org, 757accelerate.org, and coming soon, I understand, 757c.vc. Make sure you like us on Facebook and keep on innovating. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't had anything to eat, make sure you take advantage of the food we got out. Make sure you take advantage of all these great retailers. And once again, thank you so much for coming, folks. You've been wonderful. I hope everybody has a wonderful Easter, Passover, wonderful weekend.